Hi guys and welcome to Eva Adventures. Welcome to my channel. I'm Eva. I just came back. Actually no, I came back like a month ago from an amazing trip to Korea. And today I'm gonna share exactly how I planned this trip. From flights to budget to tips and tricks of what we saw and what we did that really helped us along the journey. If you want to see the trip itself, I've got some vlogs that are going to be coming up in the next few weeks. And be sure to subscribe and let's get started. Me and my friend went to Korea and we went to Seoul, Jeju Island, Busan, and then we came back to Seoul. So we did a total of like 4 major stops. And we did that over the span of 2 weeks. So let's break down how I planned our itinerary first. We divided the trip, as I said, into 4 sections. The arrival in Seoul, then flying to Jeju, then flying to Busan, and taking the train back to Seoul. We spent between 3 to 4 days in each section of the trip. Now, let's get into the juicy bit. Flights and booking tips. Choosing our flights was not an easy task, to be honest. We do have a 13-hour time difference between Quebec City, where I live, and Seoul. The most important part, if you're going to take a flight, especially long-haul flights, is really to plan a full day of traveling on top of your 2-week vacation. So for 14 days on land in your trip, you have to plan at least 16 days of travel. So 2 days in and out of the country and then 14 days of travel. So a big tip is to book your flights on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights. Personally, it did apply when we booked our flights. I know that some people say that it doesn't apply anymore. It's not cheaper anymore, but for me, it was cheaper. If you do have a VPN, connect yourself to the country that you're gonna go in. So for me, it was Korea. So I did connect my VPN to Korea and had some discounts for a big number of flights. We planned to leave around the first week of May, and we booked the tickets during the first week of March. So about 2 months in advance was a good amount of time for us. I would honestly recommend booking them maybe even 3 months in advance, but it depends on where you're going and how tight your budget is. How popular is the destination on the time that you're going? Personally, for Korea, May is the most sought after month for traveling to Korea because it's usually very warm, very nice, so if you want to travel to Korea, I do recommend going in May, but be warned that prices might be a little more expensive than if you go other times of the year. So between me, my mom, and my best friend, we were 3 people looking for flights to Korea from Quebec. And we were able to look at about like 4 to 5 websites at the same time. And we found the best deals on a website called trip.com. We did look on a bunch of different websites. And for the time that we were planning on going, trip.com had the best deals. One big thing that we noticed cross platforms is that if you stay too long on the website and you search again for a flight, you will not find the same deal again. It will have changed. The prices will have been jacked up. That's why using a VPN comes in handy, because if the destination or the location that you were in gets too jacked up because you looked at the same flights like 3 to 4 times, changing your location will get you back to zero. Taken aback by that because one of the flights that we wanted to book, 5 seconds later we refreshed the page. Unfortunately, the prices were jacked up. For our accommodations, we had a total of 5 rooms in which we stayed. So yeah, all of them were booked through booking.com. So throughout my vlogs, I will put the link to each accommodation. So if you're interested or you find it pretty or you like it, then you'll have a link to go see it. I'm not affiliated, so I won't make money off of that. I'd just like to help as much as I can, especially for a trip that is probably gonna cost a lot of money. We mainly picked based on ratings. So even if it was a little pricier, we wanted to make sure it was a safe environment. Booking through ratings was a surefire way for us to see that the accommodation was actually a safe environment and had been tested by multiple people before us. Did look to being close to metro stations, so subway lines, and convenience stores, even though convenience stores are basically around every corner, but subway lines was probably the main concern. Do note that in Jeju, there is no subway. You have to be closer to bus stops instead of subway lines. To be fully honest, Korea is very easy to travel to by foot. We walked a lot, and even if something was a little bit further, it is usually pretty accessible walking or even by the subway, especially in Seoul and Busan. Next part, transportation. So how did we move between cities? From Seoul to Jeju, we booked a flight through, again, trip.com, and it was by the Korean company, Jeju. Then from Jeju to Busan, we also took the same company. And then from Busan to Seoul, we took a KR train route, and I used railninja.com to book that train. Like I mentioned a little bit before, in Seoul City, using the subway lines will get you anywhere. Subway lines are gonna get you anywhere fast, easy, and cheap. Bus, we did use the bus more often on our way back into Seoul. And honestly, again, very cheap, very easy, and gets you where you want to be. In Jeju Island, we use lots of Ubers. Mainly Ubers. We did not want to rent a car, and honestly, if you're not a seasoned driver and if you're not used to Korean, I would not recommend driving there, just because all of the information on the panels, all of the signals, everything is in Korean, obviously, since you're in Korea. If you don't know Korean, it might be a little confusing. And also, traffic regulations are very different, at least from Canada to Korea. In Busan, we use also mostly subways. I don't think we took the bus except for bus tours that we scheduled beforehand, but otherwise, the subway is a sure way to get you from the beach to the center of the city to the mountains. Like, it'll get you anywhere. First and foremost, I highly recommend booking yourself a taxi from the airport to your accommodation. When you get to Korea, jet lagged, tired, the trip was long, the flight was annoying, there was a baby crying the whole way, whatever happens, you don't have to think. Get your luggage, get out, wait for your taxi, and go to your accommodation. No need to struggle with the taxi driver who doesn't understand what you're saying to show him where you're going. So there is an option to book a taxi at the same time that will take you from the airport to the accommodation. And since it's a booking.com taxi, they will know where it is, no problem. Essential. Like, there is a reason why everyone talks about getting a T-Money card, T-Money cards everywhere. It is crucial to have one if you're planning on using transportation. You can buy them at most convenience stores. Do bring cash to recharge them because some subway stations still use only cash to be able to recharge your T-Money card. But it's getting modernized, so keep that in mind. If you plan on traveling across Korea, take a T-Money card. T-Money cards do work countrywide. So we were able to use them in Seoul for the bus and the subway, in Jeju for the bus, and in Busan for the bus and the subway. Download Naver or Kakao Map to get around. Kakao Talk, Kakao Map, and like the other Kakao apps are not that foreigner friendly. At least from my experience and my friends' experience, that is not foreigner friendly at all. We could not even get properly registered if we didn't have a Korean number. Maybe it was a problem with our apps directly. Kakao Talk, Kakao Map, and I think there's Kakao Taxi also doesn't work well for foreigners. We did use a mix of Naver and Google Maps, but Google Maps is very off and on, so keep in mind that Naver will probably be your best bet, but I would still recommend using a second app. If it is Apple Maps or Google Maps or whatever you want to use, just have two apps just in case. For translation, Papago. Papago is the best. Papago was our best friend during this trip. Since we booked mainly studios, we did have a washing machine that we wanted to use. Everything was in Korean, obviously, and so Papago, the camera feature, was our best friend. Yeah, Papago did allow us to have a full-blown conversation with one of our taxi drivers. I highly recommend this app. I absolutely love this app. Papago is a must. I still use it sometimes when I read something in Korean and I want it translated. Another app that is good to download is an eSIM app. We personally used Saily. Personally, I don't know of any other ones. Any eSIM app that you have, that you use, will be a great ally for you on this trip. Yes, Korea has internet a lot of places, but it does not have free roaming internet in the city. Just get an eSIM, just get some data. So my friend got 5 gigabytes of data and I got 10 gigabytes of data. I think it was like $20 for 10 gigabytes, and honestly, I would not have had it any other way. It is absolutely crucial, especially if you're using Naver all the time or Papago all the time. Let's go into budget and money tips. My personal budget for this trip was 5,000 Canadian dollars. Change that into your currency. Overall, we're looking for transportation and accommodations at about 2,700 Canadian dollars per person. I'd say this trip was probably one of the most expensive trips I've been on by myself, like as an adult. Then for activities and food and beverage, for activities, I booked 3 tours. We're looking at like approximately $240 for activities that were planned, for booked tours, full day tours that we booked in advance. And honestly, they were totally worth it. I think it was a reasonable price to pay per person, knowing, and you will see it in the vlogs, how much we did, how much we saw, and everything. It leaves us with about $2,000 for budget for everything else. So food and beverages, shopping budget, miscellaneous budget, and transportation budget in the cities. That gives you about an estimate. For food, I would say mostly food in Korea, from what we've seen, is pretty cheap and very affordable, whether it's convenience store food or just restaurant food. The most expensive meal that we had was in Jeju, and it was a pork belly barbecue, and it was $72 Canadian, and it was awesome and really good and really delicious, so I don't regret it. You might think it's super expensive depending on where you're from, but from here, when we look at the prices for food here in Canada, we were very positively surprised at how cheap everything was over there. And the quality was amazing. That is for the 5,000 budget. So we spent a total of $106 approximately for Ubers during our trip, divided by 2, so around $53 per person for, I think we had like 6 or 7 Uber trips. Then for transportation, for the T-Money cards, we did spend, I think, about 100. I don't remember the exact amount that we spent in T-Money cards for transportation, but I would say it's about $50 to $100 total, so around maybe 50 per person, which gives us about 103 per person for a total of transportations. And then for food, I would say we spent around probably 150 per person for the 2 weeks. which is really not a lot. And then everything else went into shopping. We did get some treatments done. Treatments are pretty expensive as well. I would say for treatments, get ready to spend between $200 and $700 per treatment. That's about what we spent for hair treatment and face treatment. For tours, we use the TripAdvisor website. Very highly recommend TripAdvisor. For each vlog that has a tour in it, I will link the tour that we did in the description box. All of our guides were absolutely amazing. If you plan on going there, please book through them. Also, like I said, for accommodations, I use booking.com, transportation, trip.com, and railninja.com. For skincare and hair care treatments, I booked through the Instagram of EcoJardin and Fleur Jardin, which will also be linked down below in the proper vlog. I did watch a couple of YouTubers to help me with the trip. So I found a YouTuber which has a channel dedicated to helping people who want to travel to Korea. And she is called K Garden Angel. I will link her channel in the description box because she was absolutely amazing and helped me so much during my research. Mistakes to avoid: please learn some of the language. I think it goes without saying that if you're going to a foreign country, you have to be prepared that not everyone will speak English or your language, whether it's French, Spanish, German, whatever you speak. Most people might not speak that language, and you have to be prepared for that. Please learn the bare minimum. Hello, thank you, where is ... I am lost, please help, or emergency number. Just learn the emergency number of the country you're visiting. And I know it's a well-known fact, but be quiet in transportation. Don't go around yelling on the phone or putting on a video, whatever. Yeah, we saw a lot of foreigners who completely disregarded our guides' right to privacy by filming them, even though our guides say, please don't film me. Personal tip is to print out all of your reservations and your itinerary. Technology is great, but if your phone dies, if you don't have internet, if you don't get service or whatever, anything else, having a paper version of your reservations and your itinerary might get you out of a pickle. On that note, also send out all of that information to someone in your home country, to someone you trust, whether it's your parents, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever. Send them all of the addresses of where you're going to, the itinerary, when you're supposed to be at certain places, etc. Just in case something happens, they will have an easier way of finding you or finding out what's going on with you, especially if they have an embassy in the country. It will be easier for the person that is in your home country to be able to contact authorities, local authorities. I know we wish that nothing happens. Like, I wish nothing happens to you, nothing happens to anyone on their travel, but it's better to be safe than sorry. I think that's what watching a lot of true crime podcasts has taught me. Share your location at all times and make sure someone in your home country has a copy of your hotel numbers. That was a pretty long-winded video. I recorded for like an hour and the video is probably gonna be like 20 minutes long, but whatever. I hope this helps if you're planning a trip to Korea or a trip in general. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I will be happy to answer as much as I can and as well as I can. Check out my vlogs that will be coming in the following weeks for a closer look at each place. I will also give personal opinions and be more detailed in the vlogs about our experiences. Follow me on Instagram, YouTube. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you want more content like this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!